Hi, good day to you. This is Mary Alice back with you on the channel, and a channel all about self-love and what does that mean. All topics covered so far since August is in regard to self-love, developing self-confidence, which we'll get into not today, but I think that's a very, very important subject to talk about, self-confidence. It's hard to gain that sometimes, isn't it? So I do want to do a special broadcast on that because I think it can be helpful to all of us. And every time I go over these topics, for me, I keep learning too. I get good reminders, and it's great for me as well. And I do trust you're getting some great information and content and help and things to think about as I share these things. I know for me in my life, they've been just incredibly important. And to connect the dots in all these ways, starting when we're very young to how we react in life. So today, I just want to do, hi Sherry, I just want to do a little more information or a little more discussion on emotional well-being. Something came up this weekend for me that I thought, wow, that makes great sense. And I'm going to share it with you right now, why I feel like I wanted to discuss a little more of it today. There's someone I follow, a musician that I follow on YouTube, and he and his wife would do like some fun videos, family fun videos and fun music, and they're very creative. And I first started watching them on and off. They are now since separated. And but I still watch him. He posts every day, and he talks about his mental health. And he recently, I think in the past couple months, really was going to unalive himself, I think is the term people use, but you know what I mean. He had it all planned. He knew exactly what he was going to do. He knew how he was going to do it, and had it, a letter for everything. It was just all ready. Something intervened in that whole setup, and he talks about that, and it literally saved his life. And he looks back on that, and oh, my silly internet, sorry about that. And so he talks about what intervened with that unexpectedly, and how he is so happy he didn't follow through with that. Anyway, as he shares about this, and as he shares about his struggle with mental health at times and what causes it, he said something this weekend that I thought was amazing, because he goes, I've been clean and sober for 8 years, because he did use and abuse drugs and alcohol. And he's had a few bouts of sobriety, but this is the longest. I think he said 8 years. And he goes, but I realized I wasn't sober emotionally. I was like, whoa, that's a great bit. That is excellent. And it wasn't as if there were drugs and alcohol involved in his emotions. That was separate. He was talking about his managing of his emotions. And emotional well-being has to do with how well we manage our emotions, especially in difficult or stressful times. It doesn't mean ignore them. It doesn't mean not feel them, especially if you're grieving or something, you hear bad news and you're kind of shocked. You're going to feel that, obviously. But it's how quickly we can recover. How quickly can we help ourselves gain a stability so that we're not sinking into these emotions. We're not allowing the emotions to run our lives over long periods of time. Because yes, most of the population, we do have situational depression. We do feel sad. We do lose people we love and we grieve. So all those things are normal within our life, within humanity. But the well-being we can help ourselves with is understanding that these are difficult times. Excuse me, that there are struggling times, that there are sad times. And I think it even begins in childhood. So if we go way back to childhood, so let's say you're even from a very healthy, functioning, loving family, but you suddenly lose your pet that you love so dearly, or a grandparent that you're so connected to and love. A child needs guidance into how to manage, how to, first of all, understand what has happened, depending on their age. And second of all, allowing them their emotions and talking about the emotions. It's so sad. We all miss grandma. Oh my gosh, it's going to be hard without her. And like, talk about the realities of it and the feelings of it, because they're very real. And then incorporate support and love so the child can begin in time to move on as their grandmother would want them to, right? So you can incorporate that message for the child. So there's the initial feeling, there's the acknowledgement of it, and then there's the support and how to move past it, how to understand that this is a part of life, and sometimes it's really hard, and sometimes we really are sad and we miss people. Or children going through divorce and explaining that it's difficult as heck. It's very daunting for children to try and understand such a thing, because their mom and dad are their world, right? Their family is their world. So how do you help them through that? And it's to, sorry, my necklace is caught in my hair. Ouch. Sorry about that. And it's helping them understand that what they're feeling is okay. So it really, our emotional well-being really does start in childhood. And so when we have the support, when we have mature people around us guiding us through difficult times, the better off you will grow into an adult, a little more self-aware of emotions and how to manage them, or even how to seek out help to manage them if need be. Now, children from dysfunctional homes, and I've told my story and I've heard thousands over the years. So there's many people who are from very dysfunctional homes, varying from a little bit to a lot. I mean, including, abuse and pain and violence and all that, all of it. Right away, these children their worlds are rocked with emotional instability, because the people who are to be caring for them are the ones hurting them and confusing them and creating such imbalance in their life. So if we can be in touch with that ourselves, for anybody who's had a difficult upbringing, first of all, know that it wasn't your fault, because your caregivers, your parents were only doing what they knew to do. And you didn't know when you were young what addiction was, or a mental illness, or anything else affecting their personality, a disorder of sorts that was hurting you. Because children don't know. We don't know. We just don't know. I think innately, maybe a little bit, parts of us might think this doesn't feel right. This doesn't seem right. But yet it's hard to make sense of it. So we build into ourselves fear of trust, fear of other people, fear of love, fear of taking risks, a lot of fear in it. So the emotions we carry have like an underground kind of a carpet layer of the what ifs, and we are embedded with the fear of needing our parents but not able to get to them because we don't want to be around them. We don't want to be hurt by them, but we need them. We need them to feed us and have clean clothes and help us in life. And yet we're afraid to tell them that. We're afraid to approach them, afraid to tell them things that might be on our minds, or I'm struggling in school, or there's someone picking on me at school, because our parents are picking on us. So that's just one scenario. So you imagine the feelings that develop within us that pop up over time, and the emotions that go with it. And it doesn't take rocket science to understand why there are people who struggle with controlling their emotions as adults. We kind of went over all the different scenarios of being the fighter and the aggressor, or the rebellious one, or I hate authority, or I'm not listening to anybody, because that child in them is like, because they hurt me. Anybody in authority is going to hurt me, so I don't want anything to do with them. They have the worst interest about me. They don't love me. They don't care about me. And there are a lot of people like that in the world. They just want to put up your dukes kind of thing. Like, I don't want to have anything to do with anybody, and I hate authority, and politics is stupid, and they're stupid, and because the fear of trusting anybody, there's fear in that. Or the person on the other extreme, who becomes very much a wallflower and codependent and quiet and tries to make everybody happy because of the fear of they won't be liked or loved, or they're not worth it. So I better make everybody happy if I can, and then maybe they'll like me, which is a very codependent way of being and living. So I loved what Steven is his name, this musician that I follow. By the way, he's award-winning. He's written many scores for many, many movies over the years. And I just find it interesting the way he put that when he said, I'm not emotionally sober. And that grabbed my attention. And I thought, this is something to really talk about. I love that he said that, because are we emotionally sober? Are we in our right minds with our emotions when things come up for us? That's something to think about. Because the quicker we can regain a sense of stability and balance, and understand our emotions, understand that after the initial grief of a loss of a loved one that we've lost to death, there is that initial grief. There is that pain, and that you just, how will you live without them? Or I'm going to miss them so much, or whatever thoughts you might have about the person. They've been so instrumental in your life. They've been so supportive. They've been the love of your life, or even a pet. That pet's been with me for 13 years. I don't know. I'm going to miss that dog so much. Whatever the thoughts are, we can have the thoughts and the feelings. We can understand that our emotions are normal. And of course, these are normal feelings. But we also, haven't had support in our young life to understand that is going to be the case, and you allowed your feelings, and you can cry all you want, you can feel it, but there will be a time when, in our own resilience, and this is about understanding our own self-esteem, our self-worth, the stronger side of ourself, the higher power of ourself, where resilience can begin to move in and help us take that one step in front of the other and begin to resume life to the best of our ability, knowing there'll be fits and starts and back and forth till it balances out again. It's normal. But what's not normal or healthy is to stay in that realm of grief, to stay in that realm of depression and grief and darkness. And because over time, that affects your overall well-being. It's going to affect everything about you and about me. Queen Victoria, she married the love of her life. She became queen at 20. She was very, very young. And she was the fifth in line to become the queen. All her uncles previously just, for whatever reason, died or were didn't want the throne, or something came up anyway. So she inherited, she was next in line. She was only 20. No, she was 18. I take that back. She was 18 when she inherited the throne. And she was very young. She was very naive. She was well taught about royalty and about the monarch and all that. She knew about it pretty much, but it was interesting when she began to take over. She got married when she was 20 to the love of her life. She left behind thousands and thousands and thousands of pages of her life, because she wrote every single day about her life, about journaling. So there's a lot that we know. There's a lot we don't know, because when she did pass away, her children actually got rid of some of the journals, because she was very open. She shared everything, really, which in those days seemed very inappropriate. And her children thought, oh, we can't have these published. So they burned some of her journals, which was unfortunate. But we do have a good idea. Anyway, when she married Albert, they had a very tumultuous marriage. They were very, very different people, but she loved him dearly. That was the bottom line. And he died when he was 40. Like, he didn't live very long. That put her in such a state of depression, and her grief went on for years and years and years. And the country was like, what's going on with her? Where's our queen? What's going on? What's happening? And they were very confused and were criticizing her for, it's been years since Albert died. Where are you? What's happening? So she really, really, and it affected her children, and there was no stability in that emotion. And we find out through her writings that she was a very emotional person. She had 9 children in a short amount of time as queen. They all lived, and her emotions, hormonally even, they talk about that, were, she postpartum depression. Anyway, all I'm saying is, when you see even a historic figure have such, and who was a queen and was royalty, they didn't understand a lot about emotional well-being. They didn't know how to address it, and saw it more as a moral issue. Come on, buck up. What's wrong with you? You got to do this, rather than understanding the delicateness of our emotions at times. And so she suffered a long time. And I'm just sharing that about how to understand that as humans, we're pretty resilient if we allow ourselves that. And to have sobriety in our emotions rather than an addiction to them, actually. Some people are addicted to their emotions, of their depression. Some people are addicted to just having nothing but good news and happy, happy, happy. And they ignore some of the reality of having emotions that are upsetting. And someone will die and they're like, oh, it's okay, they'll be great, and I'm going to be great. And, it seems callous, in fact, when it's overly positive. It's one thing to have a great outlook in life, positive attitude, and that's wonderful. I think we, excuse me, all need to attain that. Take a quick sip, excuse me. But it becomes unrealistic when you are ignoring reality. You're ignoring your fire, the house on fire, and you go, oh, that's okay, it's going to be great. That's not reality. So sometimes we can get very attached to certain emotions because they've served us well. And so this is where I'm going to kind of segue into, I just wanted to share that because I loved what Stephen said about being emotionally sober. I thought, what an incredible title. What a great way to talk about that, because so many times we can get caught up in our emotions and not know how to get out of them or how to function within them or how to move forward. It's because of past experiences. We didn't know we could. We didn't know how. Well, we weren't trained. There was no one helping us or supporting us through it. And I think it's so important to understand it's never too late. It's never too late to understand how you feel and how you react, how emotions can be reactionary rather than a response. And just taking a look at that for your own life and kind of being aware of it. And again, yeah, things happen. We are going to feel, we are going to have emotions about things. Absolutely. But it's understanding the perspective of them and how to create a well-being within yourself over time when that initial shock wears off. And that's what's important. That's what's so important, to have emotional stability. And it's not always easy. I'll be the first to say it's not always easy, but knowing yourself well, knowing what triggers you, knowing what upsets you, is the first part. And just being aware of that. And then understanding and acknowledging what's happening, the feelings and emotions. Okay, this is happening right now. I get it. Oh my gosh, I'm so sad. I can't believe this. This is gut-wrenching. I can't stand this. Maybe you got some bad news. It's okay. And then we begin to work through that. And hopefully we have supportive friends and family to help us through certain times to get back to our well-being. So I wanted to segue into learned helplessness because I feel like this is a part of emotional instability, is learned helplessness. Helplessness happens when over a period of time, there's nothing that we're not succeeding. So if we go back into childhood, okay, let's go back into childhood. And anything we do, we happen to have a very disordered or mentally ill parent or authoritarian, a perfectionist, whatever, and nothing we can do is good enough. Nothing. No matter how hard we try, we're being criticized, we're being put down, it wasn't good enough, or being compared to somebody else. And this is for years. A person's going to develop a sense of, I can't do anything. Why should I even try? It's also a victim mindset. Many victims who are victimized over and over again create this learned helplessness because they believe it. They're like, I can't do anything right. That's been drilled into them. I can't succeed. I can't get out of this trauma. I can't get out of this abuse. I can't get out of. And so it's a very sad state of affairs because there are a lot of people who've been under these circumstances of, it's like ongoing, and they're helpless to do anything about it. Now, again, especially children, right? Many children are helpless. They're under the attack of families, parents, relatives, whatever's happening in their life. And there's a sense of, I give up. I forget it. There's nothing I can do. And so they barely get through life. They barely graduate school. They barely get a job. They barely do well at their job. It's like, because it's less than mediocrity. They're just believing that nothing in them can succeed. And they haven't had perhaps the exposure to people in the, or books or people who write about these such things and how to overcome them. And in a general way, a way to get over this learned helplessness is to actually develop little goals, little ones. Just start little every day. There's a gentleman that has come across social media who weighed 700 pounds. And he really had a sense of learned helplessness. I'm never going to get over this. I might as well just eat. I'm in pain all the time. Nobody cares about me. Nobody loves me. And he got to that weight. I don't know exactly what turned him around. I don't, because I didn't hear the beginning of that story of what turned him around. But my goodness, he is on a roll. And he talked about how he started little goals, little goals. He couldn't even get up off a chair. So he decided, you know what? I'm just gonna try one. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna take 2 steps. I'm gonna sit back down. And that's what he started with. And then the next day he started with 3 steps. And then he started changing his food pattern little by little. And he made these enormous amounts of successes in such little ways that now over time, I think I don't know how many months it's been, he's lost a lot of weight. He's walking around a whole track at the local school without having to collapse. I mean, watching this person is amazing to me. And I only come across it once in a while, but seeing his successes is amazing. And that's how we can get out of our thoughts of learned helplessness. And some of us might have it in little ways, that lack of self-confidence, or I'm just not good enough, or we'll tend to compare ourselves with other people and I could never do that. And but we can. That's the thing. Just setting little goals. And also the emotion that comes with it of, I'm no good. I just can't. Why try? I just forget it. Everyone told me I never was going to amount to, I wasn't going to do this. I wasn't going to do that. If we let that keep festering in us, we're not going to get anywhere in life. But when we can take those moments where our higher self, our higher power kind of comes into play and helps us and teaches us, and we go outside for a little help. We get some books, we get someone to help support us or educate us, and we take those little steps. It's amazing. I know in my life, I shared, I was dyslexic. I was hard for me in school. I was just a C student, and even that was so hard because I didn't know I was dyslexic. I didn't understand what it meant. I just knew I couldn't read like other people. And it wasn't until my senior year, and I had an English teacher that was so understanding, and she got it. And she gave me the confidence, and she helped me. I am amazed at the switch I did in my senior year because of her. And I learned to love reading. It just took me longer, but I learned to love it, and I learned to make sense of it, and I learned to comprehend. And so reading, I love reading. But I didn't know that, I didn't believe like I could make anything of myself, that I could actually, as much as I wanted to go to college, I thought, nah, I'm not smart enough. I still had that, I'm not smart enough. And I married young instead and started a family, which, I'm grateful for. I wouldn't change that. But years later, going through, and again, I share all that, if you've heard my story, and I go into therapy, and I'm discovering things about myself and learning and growing. And this particular therapist, whom I just adore, he said to me, he goes, do you realize how smart you are? Do you realize? I went, what? Me? I was like, I agree. He goes, no. Do you realize how smart you are? And just ignore that crap coming up there in the chat. And I'm like, no, I don't. He goes, and then he gave me some feedback, and went, oh, I just thought that was normal. He said, no. He goes, did you ever think about going back to school? Because I had started going to college and then stopped, because I had more kids, so that made it difficult. I went, no, I'm not smart enough. He goes, just play with the idea. So I did. Long story short, I re-entered. I got back into school. I went to community college where I was, where I could just pick up some more courses that I needed to get into university. And long story short, graduating from university, summa cum laude. And I'm like, and that even freaked me out. I'm like, they're going to think I tricked them. I couldn't believe it myself. Even with the diploma in my hand, it was like scary. It was like, what's going on? This isn't this. So I'm just saying that because I want people to be encouraged that if you think you can't do something or you can't accomplish something, think twice, think 3 times, give it a try. Start something small, just a little thing. Let's say you're I think I want to draw, or I want to paint, or I want to do something, like that. It's like, get a pad of paper, go get drawing paper, some pencils or pens or whatever medium you want to use. Give it a try. No one is Leonardo da Vinci the first time around, right? Look, I'm lucky if I can even do a snowman. But I love it. I love painting. I'm not good at it, but I love it. And there's a flow that develops, a sense of creativity, and you get so involved in it, and it feels so awesome. So try something new. Try something that you've wanted to do. Just get involved and don't have any expectations. Don't think like, oh, this has to be perfect. Nah, it doesn't have to be perfect. No. Just give it a try. Man, there's so many people on YouTube and TikTok and whatnot who teach little segments of art. There's this one woman who, she's so great. She goes, it's easy. Don't scare yourself. And like she has watercolors and she shows you little simple things to do. And before you know it, this picture is beautiful because she starts with the small aspects of the strategy it takes to become artist, or what you can do to make this leaf come to life, or this flower, or whatever she's showing you. She's amazing. And she gives you such self-confidence. You can do it. You can do it. You can do anything. You really, really can. And that's what I want people to know. I mean, anything. Can I become a ballerina? No, I do have a sense of reality. I can learn some ballet steps. I can learn some things, but it doesn't mean I'm going to be on the stage in New York. I'm 67. That's not going to happen. But I can at least enjoy the art of ballet. I can enjoy the movement. I can take some classes and just understand the steps that they take, and the pliés, and all the other movements that they make to create ballet. Even having that appreciation for music, or for art, or for drama, or for writing, learning about it gives you even more appreciation. And it's a way to develop more self-confidence. It's a way to develop strength, and it even gives us a sense of well-being. Creativity, I think, is such a tool for healing and recovery from anything. It really is. Even from fear or from depression, because I know I shared with you in the past about that, like how that creative, the art, my friend who was a therapist helped a lot of us get through that earthquake in '94, and we did it through art, and it was amazing. Just the creative ways, the abilities that we all have that can help us with our well-being, and being balanced within ourselves, and seeing that we can do this is so rewarding. So I think I'm going to leave it there, but I'm so glad that Stephen Hilton is his name, that he talked about that. Emotional sobriety, because that triggered in me this whole thought of emotional well-being and emotional intelligence. It all goes along with emotional intelligence. And our emotional intelligence is connected to everything else. How we think, how we feel, our thoughts about other people and places and things, and the emotions we have of them. And if we can develop more emotion of love for ourselves and others, in a realistic way, in a vulnerable way, life gets better and better and better. And I know for many of us, the older we get, that kind of happens. I don't know if it's automatic, but for many of us, it just kind of happens. But if you're younger and you're listening to me, it can still happen. It's through awareness. Just be aware of yourself. You feel when you feel it, how you feel it. And ask yourself, oh, was that necessary that I reacted that way? Probably not. How can I do it differently next time? It's just these simple questions we can ask ourselves that gets the subconscious involved to go, oh, I think they want to change. I'm going to help them to change. It's true. So thanks for being with me today. I really appreciate it. And I hope and I wish you well in this day and the week to come. And I'll see you Friday. Thank you. Bye for now. And don't forget, I almost forgot, you're amazing. You're an amazing human being. Look at the capabilities we have. Look at, we are so able and talented and capable. There's so much within us that is still untapped, if you think about it. You're an amazing human being and you're a miracle on this planet. And you matter so much. You matter so much to people around you, family, friends, your own self, and to me. Have a great day. Bye for now.